So next up, we have Ben Paynter with the town of Apex.
Okay, yeah, I'm Ben Paynter, the GIS specialist with the town of Apex. I'm mostly in the electric utilities department these days, but I like to do some cross-departmental projects like the ones I'm going to present today, using kind of more web environments and mobile environments. So I wanted to present managing tree canopy and healthy vegetation as an essential green infrastructure using web maps and mobile devices. I've got a background in environmental planning as well. I did my graduate degree at UNC in planning and focused on green infrastructure there. So it's something that I'm passionate about too, and happy to work on this project and present to you what we've done at the town of Apex. The town does strive to manage and encourage tree canopy for all the benefits that a healthy canopy can provide for the town and its citizens. This is, like I said, a multi-departmental effort that takes a lot of coordination and collaboration from different departments, such as electric utilities, the planning department, public works, and many others. We have some programs that encourage tree canopy and monitor that tree health. And we're trying to always grow these programs and evolve them as the town realizes the value of these trees as a green infrastructure. So some of those benefits of green infrastructure with tree canopy can sequester carbon from the air. It can increase habitat and biodiversity in the community. Trees also have a cooling effect and mitigate heat islands by cooling off buildings and impervious surfaces, especially in some of our commercial areas. With that too, there's an energy conservation measure with healthy tree canopy. It can reduce the need to use as much energy to cool buildings, as well as water resources impact with stormwater control. Trees can slow the flow of rainfall to the ground, as well as the root systems and vegetation, helping with erosion control and flood management. So we love our trees in Apex. They help us do a lot and provide a lot more benefits beyond just green infrastructure, but they do a lot for green infrastructure as well. We monitor this tree canopy health and implement increasing that canopy with just simple setups using Esri's ArcGIS online environment. And we utilize the collector mobile application quite a bit through that web environment on mobile devices. The mobile app workflow allows for field workers to easily access and update that information in the field on their cell phones or tablets, and that can be shared with office staff instantaneously across various departments that are within the organization. The tools also allow us to interact with citizens and use easy to understand forms and maps that we can use to pull data in and interact and present data to the citizens of Apex. So the web environment really allows for this cross collaboration, and it's pretty simple to stand up and use, and I'll just demonstrate that with some of the projects we have. The first one I'll introduce, something we have called Plant the Peak. It originated in public works and planning, but there's a lot of other departments working on this, including electric utilities, as we monitor the trees that are planted. But it's essentially a tree planting initiative working with the citizens to encourage that tree canopy across neighborhoods. So what we do is we have an application period with the citizens. They fill out an application through Survey 123. And then we use the data to then go and select applicants to plant trees in neighborhoods on their properties. And then the trees are then maintained by us for the next 3 years to ensure that they have a good, healthy start and continue to thrive where they're planted. So this is the plant to peak map. It's essentially the survey 123 responses from the citizens, and we pull them in and symbolize them based on whether or not the application was approved. We can then update this map after the application period is closed to do more implementation and maintenance. So very simple points map that was stood up and created through a feature layer that was created through the survey 123. And in the field, the staff can go through the responses when they visit an applicant site. They can take additional pictures on their mobile phone and easily upload to the record and actually do follow up through the data that was initially submitted by the citizen. So survey 123 was utilized. It's pretty easy to set up. I won't go too deep into it. This was largely set up by Public Works, staff, and planning. So I didn't have too much to do with this, but the nice thing is that the survey was created by another department in the ArcGIS Online environment, sent out to citizens. That data was collected. The survey 123, the survey creates a hosted feature layer on ArcGIS Online, which you can then grab easily in a web map. And using that add layers function, you just search the survey name and you can find the feature layer and pull it into a map that you create. So pretty easy setup. And it's one of those things where it was a cross departmental collaboration. The work on my end was pretty simple, just grabbing that feature layer and giving the staff the privileges to edit that data and utilize it on their phones. Sorry. Another project we have, and this is more of an internal tool to the arborist arbor staff in the electric utilities department, the green dangers inventory. This was another simple stand-up that was built entirely within ArcGIS Online by creating that hosted feature layer and the web map. It's largely edited and viewed on mobile devices, but essentially it's monitoring trees that are live trees that may have issues. Maybe they're too close to a utility, like an overhead electric line, or maybe they're kind of leaning or need some sort of assistance, maybe some pruning to make that tree have a healthier life where it stands. So essentially an empty hosted feature layer was created and fields were added that would be needed in the field. But largely the staff add these data points themselves, and we symbolize it based on what kind of tree it is. A lot of these options in the fields are pick lists or domains to simplify the data in the field so that they can just pick stuff already there and don't have to run into any issues with data entry. Any kind of fat fingering in the field can be eliminated through setting up those fields. And I'll describe how that setup works, but I want to introduce this third project that's also largely viewed through the mobile environment. It's for Mistletoe Watch. Mistletoe is kind of an invasive plant that can attack some of our larger, healthier canopy trees, especially in the older parts of town where we have these nice big oaks that are kind of more legacy trees, and they provide a lot of shade, a lot of those green infrastructure functions. So we want to see them survive for a long time. They might have already survived for 100 years, but the mistletoe can eventually choke them out and cause them to die back and need to be taken down. So another simple points-based hosted feature layer to for the staff to go out and identify trees that have mistletoe issues. And then we use some light scripting on the labeling to make it clear that, you know, there's estimates involved with how much it might take to treat the mistletoe on a tree. And if we need to, if we can do that in-house or contract it out with someone. But we love those big trees in town. So we try to do what we can to make sure they continue to survive. So that hosted feature layer. So when someone comes to me, when the arborist staff comes to ask for a new map, I just go on ArcGIS Online, create that new item feature layer, and then build it entirely on ArcGIS Online. There's no desktop or ArcMap or anything like that. You can also set feature layer editing settings. So if you want someone just editing the attributes and not changing geometry, if you don't want anyone to delete certain records, you can apply any sort of editing function you want and enforce those rules for field staff. And again, that fields and domains is really valuable for field collection when you can create those pick lists versus people entering in stuff. It makes data entry much more rapid in the field and reduces any sort of errors that might occur in data entry. So here's kind of a little demonstration of, you know, the simplicity of adding data or editing data in the field. Just clicking edit. If you have a smartphone, you're probably pretty used to working through apps like this. So it makes things really rapid and easy in the field, and the ability to find yourself with location features on your phone makes it so that you know exactly where you are and you know you're on the right feature to edit. This is Phil Barnes with our utilities our electric utilities department. He's the main arborist and canopy care expert in the town. And he says, knowing your service area like the back of your hand is now in the palm of your hand with this mobile GIS system. We can now keep track of various issues that would have affected tree canopy, our electric utility system, and also the safety of our citizens. For us to be able to be in the know of what we have and how we're handling it, we need to have an easy way to track and document it. And that can't be done without this tree canopy care mapping system. So people that come from a GIS background like to utilize it, but also this kind of setup is good for folks who, you know, may not come from a GIS background. It can be valuable for them in this kind of setup. And I'll close with just saying environmental protection and natural resources will remain a high priority for the Apex community. It's in our vision to protect the environment as we continue to grow. And we hope that GIS will continue to be an essential tool to aid in the management and decision support around tree canopy and increasing that green infrastructure. And these kind of workflows with Collector and ArcGIS Online definitely simplified the GIS data collection process, and it provides stakeholders with the tools targeted to their specific needs. they're easy to set up and maintain, and we can have that visual tool to help us get further insights into managing our tree canopy and green infrastructure. So in the future, we hope to continue to build our programs to use GIS to manage tree canopy. One example is we've been collecting LiDAR, and hopefully we can use that LiDAR to filter out vegetation like you see here in the downtown area, and really get a better understanding for canopy densities across the town. And so we can use that to further analyze what kind of resources we have. With that, I'll open it up for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben. We do actually have a few questions. So first one is, do you utilize any tree management solutions within the town of Apex? This is
not that I'm aware of, like a third-party software.
This was from Peter Erlenbach, so I'm
Okay.
thinking probably the Esri solutions, like the pre-made application.
It's preferred, but any of them just in general. Yeah.
No, I've just been kind of I didn't know there was any sort of solutions out there, so yeah, I'd be interested to see.
Perfect. The next question is, have you had feedback about battery usage from the people using the apps? At our forestry company, we have the same workflow using Survey 123 in field apps, and the foresters have complained about the battery usage.
Interesting. I haven't been aware of anything like that. I wonder if it has to do with hotspot usage versus cellular usage or something like that. But I haven't had any complaints. They might also have their phone always on a charger in the truck or something. So yeah.
Okay, the next question, does the town of Apex have ArcGIS Enterprise?
Yeah, we do. And we use it for a lot of our production maps, but for this usage in particular, just because of how much editing and distribution is going on, it made sense to go hosted, but we utilize Enterprise as well, and have things on Portal.
With the retirement of Collector, what's your plan for future data collection?
I'd like to switch to field maps eventually. I used it a good amount, but a lot of the field staff had Collector already on their phones, and you know, you kind of want to ease people into stuff. So I started with Collector just because of how simple it is. But yeah, I've looked at field maps. I have it on my personal device, and hope to switch people over when the time comes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ben, for your insightfulness on this topic.
Thanks, guys.